rid the hamlet of all VC, so there will be no more suffering and destruction for ourselves and our compatriots.
Oh, my friend.
Good to see you again.
You just come out, sir?
Fine, just got back, yeah. How you doing, Ben?
Good afternoon, sir. Very good to see you.
Fine. How you doing?
See you again.
Fine, good to see you. How you doing? Fine. Just got back this afternoon, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Been very quiet.
Glad to have you.
Except last time in the...
When the rockets went off to... Very nice. I read about it in Stars and Stripes. That's one of our success stories here, this battalion is. We had a real...
We
a lot
just
of trouble
gave
with
4 Bronze Stars and 5 ARCOMs with V device this week to the battalion commander and 3 of his officers and 5 soldiers. And we have 6 impact boards pending for last Saturday night's action where we killed 6 VC and captured 9 weapons.
He had been the recon company commander of the 263rd, and he'd done a real tremendous job as just as the recon company commander, and then they moved him over here, and in a 10-day period, or maybe a 2-week period, he completely reversed it. They had the battalion here under a very poor major commanding officer, and they had it to the point where the company commanders were throwing down their weapons and crying, or at least one of them did, and then 10 days later, they had a big contact with the BC, and in 3 days killed 42, lost none of their own. He does it with a fairly limited staff. Although some of his people, like that young major over there, Major Yuck, tremendous guy. Just heard his name over there.
Ba người. Đây súng này liên với M16, một người nữa.
It's no surprise that in a very poor country, you can find people who will wear foreign uniforms. What has always surprised us, what we've never been willing to predict or understand, is that the Vietnamese communist leadership can find enough people to live in the tunnels, fight for nothing, wearing ragged shorts year after year under the American bombs. A war in which one side is entirely financed and equipped and supported by foreigners is not a civil war. The only foreigners in that country were the foreigners we financed in the first part of the war and the foreigners we were in the second half of the war. Basically, we didn't want to acknowledge the scale of our involvement there. We didn't want to realize that it was our war, because that would have been to say that every casualty on both sides was a casualty caused by our policy. The question used to be, might it be possible that we were on the wrong side in the Vietnamese War? But we weren't on the wrong side. We are the wrong side.
You have exemplified in your corner of the world patriotism of the highest order. You have brought to your great task of organizing your country the greatest of courage, the greatest of statesmanship.
J'avais 2 possibilités. Ou
I had 2 possibilities. Either I could submit to Washington's politics,
every morning, yes sir, ou alors
or I would have to resign.
Bien sûr, comme soldat, je me
You can be sure that as a soldier, I only submit very rarely,
très rarement, si pour dire que jamais.
and in fact, never. I chose the second solution, that of resigning.
On the Vietnamese side, I would say the most encouraging factor is the promise offered by General Khan's government.
Par un service de sécurité à la présidence,
Through the means of a security service in the president's office, we taped all communications with the outside, all telephone communications. And fortunately, among these taped telephone communications, I still have the tape from which we can hear precisely General Taylor stating precisely that he wants me, General Khan, to leave Vietnam.
Can you let us hear it?
Certainement, j'espère que ça marche. On va aller voir.
Certainly, I hope it works.
This is Ken speaking.
How are you? Glad to hear it.
May I speak in French?
Si vous parlez lentement, s'il vous plaît.
L'entrevue que nous avons hier, vos désirs étaient à ce que je quitte le commandement du pays. Vous tenez toujours à vos désirs d'hier à ce que je quitte le pays, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, c'est vrai.
Entendu. Alors, je vous rappellerai cet après-midi.
Merci bien.
Au revoir.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. President and ladies and gentlemen, as our joint communique indicates, President Tew and I have had very constructive talks with regard to how we shall work together in the years ahead, working for the program of peace, which we now hope will all be the wave of the future, not only for the Republic of Vietnam, but for all of the countries in Indochina.
What kind of freedom could you preserve here when you put so many of our compatriots into prison without any charge, without any reason? Why? Just because that you want us to have freedom? What kind of freedom could you give us? We know that we only have freedom if we fight for it. But here, we fight for what? We fight for prisons?
Les gens peuvent être arrêtés à n'importe quel moment.
People can be arrested at any moment by any organization and then tortured in inhuman ways in all the prisons and above all in police stations.
Emprisonnés des années sans passer par un tribunal.
And then imprisoned for years and years without trial. Their only crime is loving their country. They had the courage to tell the truth. They asked for the liberation of political prisoners. They asked for an end to the war. They asked for peace, for national reconciliation. And all that is considered a crime by the government of Tew.
Bị bắt hồi 1968 ở trong nhà thì công an lại bắt.
I was arrested in 1968. I was at home when the security police came. They took me to headquarters for a few questions and kept me.
Không thấy đường con mắt này nè, con mắt này còn thấy hơi hơi. Rồi do nó đánh đập với giam như vậy là kiệt sức.
You can't imagine how badly I was beaten.
Người ta quánh tôi,
mostly on the head. My eyes are bad now. After I was arrested, I was beaten so badly. Even now, I sometimes have headaches and nosebleeds and ear bleeds. In those days, all we were getting to eat was rotten fish, so we asked for some vegetables. But when we complained, we were beaten and chained, and lime powder was thrown on us, and they poured water on us, and we had nowhere to run.
Thì dâu bột có đổ xuống. Rồi tiếp đó là nước đổ xuống, chị em đâu có chỗ nào tánh.
Our cells were this big, and we could do nothing but stand where we were and get the water and the lime all over us. Some of us lost our teeth and our hair. And when the lime got wet, it just boiled up, bubbling all over us. Our hair fell out and our skin became covered with sores.
Buồn nhất là tôi bị đánh, bị bắt ha.
They said that if we were innocent, they would beat us until we were guilty, and that if we were guilty, they would beat us until we repent.
In a country where the people don't hold national sovereignty, in a country where the government has turned himself to be the enemy of the people, The prisoners are